Hi team, this is our review of the colonial America time period before you begin your projects. Colonial America refers to the time period between about the 1600s to about the end of the 1700s. This was when England was sending over people to start their own settlements and to create more opportunities for England to get resources. Remember that we talked about things like overcrowding in England, or the fact that they needed more trees and more fish. This is that time period. And after England defeats the Spanish in that Navy battle we talked about, they start to send over more and more colonists. Some people, like the Puritans, come over for religious reasons, right? The Pilgrims, they wanted to spread their religion or practice their religion freely. Others come over to find gold, right? But this is that time period. So there are 13 original colonies that are started in the New World. And remember, the New World refers to North and South America. The 13 colonies today look like states along the coast, and Connecticut was one of those colonies. The colonial American time period really refers to both the time period when England was starting these colonies all the way through the American Revolution. So it can be broken down like this. From 1607 to 1650, you had the first colonies, places like Jamestown and Plymouth, events like the first Thanksgiving. Then, during 1650 to 1696, there's a lot of trade and there's more colonies coming. We also have something called the French and Indian Wars, which some of you may choose to research if you're interested in the natives. And then the time period that leads up to the American Revolution. During that time period, you have events like the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party, all of the things we watched in that video, America, the Story of Us. Some of you may choose to focus on the later colonial period, which has to do with the American Revolutionary War. We watched when the first shots were fired in that video, America, the Story of Us. So that's when the war between England and now the Americans, who used to be English, begins. There is a later time period just after the colonies, but you're going to be focusing really between the founding of Jamestown and the end of the American Revolutionary War. So a website like this gives you a good overview and a good background. It starts out in the early time period. It walks you through a pretty detailed timeline that may be helpful to you when you sit down to pick your topics. But you need to remember that this war was between England, right, that founding country who originally started these colonies, and those people who used to be considered English, but they've been now in the New World so long, they no longer feel like they're part of England. So as the 1600s goes on, and as we get into the 1700s, you have this process of people feeling less and less like they're English, and more like they're their own country. And that's when the war breaks out. So I recommend you check out this website, landofthebrave.info/colonial America time period, to check out more information. This would be a great place to start for some of you who are concerned about choosing a topic or are afraid you don't really understand the time period well enough. Things like mercantilism, triangular trade, all of these are things that we've talked about, and your goal is going to be to figure out what topic interests you most. So, if you need more help understanding the background, consult your reading, consult your textbook, or ask for help. Good luck!